It's a whole new world, a whole fantastic point of view. Kitchen equipment is coming your way, so don't change the channel right away. Welcome to the kitchen equipment episode of Dinner Party Tonight. We did do this about 5 years ago, and a very loyal fan called Brit Campagna requested a new version. We might use some of the stuff that I showed you before that is tried and true now, and I do have some new things that I might want to talk about on our kitchen equipment episode. This is my T-Fal Ultimate Easy Clean Fryer. If you ever thought about getting a fryer, get this fryer. I researched like crazy the fryer, and I was looking at like $600 ones, and I'm like, And then every review said, don't buy those, buy this one. It's like $160. It fries like a dream, and it has one amazing feature after another. First of all, it's very easy to use. Now, if you ever thought about, I don't want to fry, it just seems like it's so much mess and smell. T-Fal, change your life. I fried shrimps, I fried beignets, I fried potato chips, might be on an episode soon. I fried falafel, and it's an amazing machine. So everything comes apart. Every piece of it goes in the dishwasher. So that goes in the dishwasher, the top goes in the dishwasher, this comes out very easily, and this goes in the dishwasher. Hello. Can't beat that with a hammer, right? To see it in action, watch the falafel episode. Now I'm gonna tell you about the oil filtration. So it has 3 settings here. This says oil box removal, so you have to do this to get the box to come out, okay? Fry, box is locked. After you fry, you put it on oil filtration. And when it gets cool enough, it automatically filters the oil, which is frankly odorless. This is essentially clean oil. I think if you fried a lot of fish and stuff like that, you should probably change the oil every time. It filters down, it takes a little while. Then you put it to open and you pull out the box. Now I'm gonna tell you something about this that's really important. The top comes off, okay? The reason I know that is because the first time I used it, I was doing a dinner party, and I unscrewed this very handy spout for pouring the oil back in. I want you to really visualize this happening. I picked it up and I'm like, this is so awesome. I picked it up like this and I tipped it like this to pour the oil back in. As I tipped it, see all the oil? The lid opened. Okay? All over the counter, dripping down onto the floor. Look how much oil this is. It's a huge bottle of oil. And I had guests coming, okay? Just absorb that. So, warning, the lid is not fixed so that you can clean this. See that? Be warned. But other than that, this thing is flawless. Sliding this back in, putting it on fry so it doesn't slide out. And it stores like that. It has a kind of a quick release plug thing that doesn't, the plug is not fixed on the unit, so that if you are running or your child is running and they hit the wire, the plug comes out, not the thing tips over. Smart. It's a smart machine. I've had nothing but total success with this. You start thinking about things like, can I make really good fried chicken, which I've never made, maybe on the show too. Anyway, it's a cool, amazing, essentially affordable, self-cleaning, attractive fryer that is really fabulous. T-Fal Ultimate Easy Clean Fryer. Just remember, the lid on the oil reserve isn't fixed. Welcome to the Daily Grind, our segment about grinders, not the app. These are essential kitchen items. Even though they're obvious, it's a very essential thing. The problem with pepper grinders is that they have personalities. One will make beautiful coarse peppercorns for 2 years and then make powder. Nobody knows why. I put different pepper in a couple of different pepper grinders, white pepper, green pepper, etc., which I know is a little bit highfalutin, but you don't have to do that. These are good. They work good. This is a particularly beautiful one. I don't remember who made it, but it's lovely. It's suitable for the table. This is a run-of-the-mill one, but it's excellent, you know. But look, so that's not bad, actually. That's white pepper. So this is a skeppshult. They also make beautiful cookware. It's very simple. That's the grinder part. That's the receptacle. And you can grind it as fine or as coarse as you want. It also has a handy storage area on the top where you can put the little kernels that you want to grind up. I'll show you. These are green peppercorns. Pretty good. Skeppshult. Fabulous for things you want really coarse or crushed, not really ground, okay? The king of kings is the unicorn. It's called a unicorn. It has a super easy refill, right? And it grinds so perfectly. It's just great pepper grinder. That's telecherry peppers. That's for regular cooking. Always put something under your pepper grinder because of that, especially if you have guests, okay? Pass it with a little thing like this, unless you want to clean up pepper dust. Unicorn. They're awesome. Then I bought this for making curry. This is a Krups spice grinder. This is big enough to grind coffee or any mixture of dried spices that you have. Let's see how loud it is grinding. It says, silent vortex. Wow. That's kind of amazing. Not that expensive. Machine washable, machine washable. This part. Don't wash this part. So those are some grinders. These are perfectly good. The ones you buy in the store, the most famous and common brand that you'll find is Peugeot, like the car, and they're excellent. But you'll find one that speaks to you, and you might get a few duds in there. Oh yeah. Tea for two, and two for tea. Let's talk tea kettles. This is just a really nice kettle. You can set it for any temperature you want. The British will tell you it should be 209 or something. I forget what they said. But you basically just push this button. It lights up, it says fellow. And it's gonna boil the water. And it keeps the water at that temperature for quite some time. I believe you can set length of time. I just think it's attractive also. And it's ergonomic, you know? I'm going to make Tetley Extra Strong. I got this at the English store, Myers of Keswick. This is a spectacular tea. Some people think it's too strong. I love it. So we are at 200 already. Pretty good. Most Americans, myself included, drink tea like lukewarm. Your tea is supposed to be hot. When you go to the diner and you get that insipid cup of tea, that water is like not hot enough. The tea bag doesn't work. You'd like to serve afternoon tea and not just make a cup of tea mid-shoot day, as I'm doing. You can look at our afternoon tea episode. So this says 210. I'm just gonna, look at how easy this is. I mean, I know it's obviously easy, but that's hot water. I mean, I'm amazed by this thing. I love it. So that's the fellow. If you want to buy a countertop kettle, you don't want to use the stove, this is your man. And then it shuts off automatically, like I said, or you can shut it off with a button. It's just a great machine. Fellow tea kettle. The year is 1948. Edith and Brian Heath have started their ceramics company, Heath Ceramics. What started out as a kind of a beautiful cottage industry, essentially their ceramics, has become an artist mecca for ceramicists, for textile people, for kitchenware, it's an incredible website. And they have a very distinctive appearance, Heath Ceramics. They're extremely beautiful and they have all kinds of colors. Now, I'm gonna warn you, Heath is not cheap. So if you wanted to get 2 of each and start with a one-on-one dinner service, but this would be like your special china. Even though it's quite simple, it's very homey. But in a funny way, it is elegant, you know? Black, gorgeous, hello. In Hyde Park, if you remember that episode, we used a lot of Heath. We used the Heath to make the shooters, etc. But I mean, that's gorgeous with a beautiful sort of dark green tablecloth or something, fabulous. They also make an array of colors that change because it's sort of an artist's conglomerate in a way. So if they feel like making green plates, they have like a run of green plates. If you get them, you get them. This is a beautiful sort of bluish gray, which I love. They make bowls. This is a gorgeous bowl. And they make these beautiful like baking units. I think it's elegant enough for Christmas, certainly Thanksgiving. And they're just fantastic products. You can pass them down to your children's children. Good things are made to be used. Use them and pass them down. Heath Ceramics. Thank you, Edith and Brian. Timers. I cannot extol the virtue of the marathon timer more highly. If you drop it, the back will break and it won't have the magnet, but what can you do? And then you also have these. If you remember, this was also from the Hyde Park episode. What people don't really know about these is that you have to go all the way to the end and then back to the time you want. So we'll set it here. Oh, isn't that sweet? Knives. Don't spend money on knives. Start with just the $20 knife from the grocery store. It works fine. However, if you want to spend a little money on a beautiful knife that will hold its edge, that will serve you for years and years and years, and just make you happy to be alive, buy a Pareusi. They're made by Dan Maltwood, our dear friend. There's something about them, I don't know what it is. They're extremely light, but there's just something about these knives. This is the forager. This is the chef's knife. These are just great. See how they have the patina? I mean, that's amazing. I love that they're not shiny and they hold their edge. This is Steelport, which is another company. They're run by a guy, or they started by a guy called Eitan Zayas, I'm probably saying your name wrong, and Ron Cormy. This is also a great knife that has a patina, which I love. And just to give you a little word of advice, unless you know how to use a whetstone, and I can pretty much guarantee you, you don't. It's much harder than people think. Buy this Brad and Taylor knife sharpener. Chefs use this. That's how I saw it. It is so good. So you put the words towards you, take your knife. I'm sure Dan is freaking out because of all people, he probably does know how to use a whetstone. You put it like this, gently, push down, and draw your knife through like that. I usually do 5. Then make sure you wipe it. Look you can kind of see the edge I made. That's good. Then you have to open these little levers like this, and it has little tiny, tiny pieces of metal that came out. This is indispensable. Once a month, I'll sharpen all the knives, oil the handles, and oil the blades. It's one of your most important tools. Brad and Taylor, Pareusi. Steelport, awesome. Or the $20 knife from the grocery store. I'm serious. These are like your friend, those are like your employees' knives. Pots and pans. Now, people have this kind of crazy idea that people who cook a lot have really expensive pots. They don't. They might have 1 or 2 pieces that are special, but mostly they're just cooking on stuff you get at the restaurant supply store. However, if you would like to buy a couple of special things, there's always Hexclad We did learn the hard way that Hexclad does not survive very well in the dishwasher. So if you did buy Hexclad, don't put it in the dishwasher. Wash it by hand and kind of think of it like a cast iron pan. They're excellent, but they don't go in the dishwasher. If you would like an inexpensive-ish, non-stick, non-toxic frying pan, this is the T-Fal, same as the fry maker. Jamie Oliver, so it is chef endorsed, which I normally wouldn't do. Non-stick pan. It works. It also has this cool thing which changes color when the pan is hot. This is not cheap, but it's not expensive. Then the rest of my pots are literally pots I've had since college. LeCreuset, which is expensive, but those are the set I got in college. I have some hotel brand stuff. Like what I mean by that is like restaurant supply stuff. My saucepans, the little saucepans, those are all from Restaurant Supply, like $10 or something. Then I have some special pieces. So this is copper. Now, why do people have copper pots? Well, commonly people who don't cook a lot have all these really fancy, expensive copper pots because they don't use them because they're kind of hard to maintain, okay? I have 3, really. And this is my favorite for caramel. It's very heavy and it's beautifully made. It's from Mauviel, which is a great old company. And I did buy it in Paris, which I didn't have to because you can get this in America, at E.Dehillerin, which is an experience for any cook to go to. I love this pan. It's made many, many, many meals. Why do people buy copper who do cook? This is incidentally copper coated. This is not copper. This is tin, okay? But why do people buy copper? They buy copper because copper really does disperse the heat evenly. On a cheap, thin pan, you're gonna have a real hot spot in the middle, but copper pulls the heat evenly across the pot. Really, truly does. Better than another pot. So if you wanna buy one, buy one. You don't need to buy 7, just buy one. It's good for caramel. This is a very beautiful Rufoni. People comment on my hammered steel ones. This is a Rufoni that Lynn bought me for Christmas, I believe. It has a pineapple. It's a superb rice pot, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. I'm telling you, most of my cookware is totally normal, and you don't need to buy any of this stuff to make a beautiful dinner for your friends. But nothing wrong with a copper pot. Let's talk about a couple of appliances. So this is Mosley, my Thermomix. These are not popular in the United States yet. They're expensive. They're $1,400. I'm not going to lie to you, okay? I watched it on Great British Menu, MCTP UK, all these very fancy cooking shows, the Roux Scholarship, all this stuff. And then I started researching it for like 2 or 3 years. And it is essentially like having another cook with you. What he can do, first of all, he makes any jam that you ever want to make. He does make soup. People call it my soup maker. It's not a soup maker. But if you think of its title, it's a Thermomix. It's a heated mixer. So it can do anything from steaming, there's a basket that goes on top, to making dough, to making mousse, to making hollandaise and keeping it perfect because it's a controlled environment. I mean, so I love Mosley. I now believe I'm not fully using him to his ability. Just from watching GBM, that there's things they're doing with their thermo that are not in my computer program. So let me state that also. It comes with a computer program horrendously titled Cookie Do, which has recipes. Would I recommend a thermo? Why don't research it? See what you think. In Europe, in absolutely normal households, these are like a mixer. I mean, they're like a blender. Everybody has one. You can make a full week of meals with this and stack them in the fridge. You can make ice cream, you can make custard, you can make pâte de crème, which I made recently. And I'd like to tell you a little something I learned about pâte de crème very briefly. So I had a little dinner party after rehearsal, nice spaghetti dinner, very casual. And I said, I'm gonna make a fancy dessert. So I made pâte de crème. It's like a set custard, okay? And I used the thermo. I used a French recipe in French. And I thought the time was a little under. It said 14 minutes to set them in the basket with the steam. And I made a couple mistakes, which is any thermo users out there, I put cold water in for the steaming and it took time away from the 14 minutes. They didn't set. So I put them in the fridge, and I came back out. I had a tester one, and I put the spoon in it, and it was just liquid. And I'm like, I can't serve this. So here's what I did. Try to re-cook them, which is verboten with custard. I took them out of the fridge, put them in my copper pot, a little bit of water halfway up the pots, cooked them for another 8 minutes, took them out, put them in the fridge. They came over, we had a raucous dinner. I went out, perfectly set and silky. Believe me, you can reset a cold custard, which I learned, okay? It's very fascinating. Anyway, he made a beautiful pâte de crème. He makes a great mousse, but there's definitely something that I'm not understanding about how to use it. So if you have any insight about advanced thermo, please write me, okay? Because I love Mosley and he's a lifesaver, but I feel like he could do more. This is a Joule sous vide. If you think, oh, sous vide, I don't want a sous vide. That's what I thought. And then Regina got me this for my birthday, I think. And I was like, thanks, Reg. And then I used it. It's gonna change your life for things like filet mignon, things that are hard to make perfectly, pork chops, etc. This one is the Joule, Joule. I have the Anova. The Anova is a little more like Wild West. Like there's not a ton of support online and it's kind of like, yeah. You will see more chefs using Anova than this because this is very home looking. They're equally great. I prefer the Joule. I have both and I prefer the Joule. It has a little app you use with it. If you're doing dinner parties with a lot of people, it's gonna save your life. And then we move on to the Duxtop Induction Cooktop Expert. So you may remember me using this. It gets really hot really fast. I've never used this. Have you ever used an induction plate? Okay.
Never.
It's supposed to get hot very quickly.
Yeah.
Hey, you have to put a pan there. It doesn't work unless you have a metal pan there. And it will boil water in like 40 seconds or something. It's amazing. However, if you use it to temper chocolate, just remember that it gets really hot really fast. So I've had a lot of dumping of separated chocolate using this, but this is the best one. So if you don't have a kitchen, and there's, the small apartments, college graduates, whatever, starting out, and you have like what they call a galley, which means you have no kitchen, get one of these. They're quite inexpensive. This one is moderate, but there's like $30 ones, and they work. You put your pan, you put your soup in the pan, and it cooks very, very quickly, instead of having a huge gas oven, which you can't have in your studio. So these are great. Inductions, they're kind of awesome. Mosley, the thermo. City Joule, which is his name on the internet for me. And the Duxtop Expert. Doodads and doohickeys that are here for you. Doodads and doohickeys that are fun to use. Doodads and doohickeys. I encourage you to go to CB2, Crate and Barrel, some cases Pottery Barn, the dollar store, any place, and look for your glassware, because these people, these small stores, they sometimes, well, CB2 and Crate and Barrel aren't small, but they will have this amazing box of glasses that you can't believe is $6, okay? So these, for instance, conveniently discontinued, but these are, I think, Crate and Barrel. I use these for Christmas dinner for water, okay? How beautiful is that? $1.60. This is the kind of thing I mean. Scroll, look, go on eBay, go on Etsy, write in, I want goblets. Oh, I saw goblets in this thing. Goblet wine glasses, blip, 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 blip. Oh, 10 for $5. I'm telling you, it'd be adventurous, because this kind of thing, buying little things, buy 2, buy 4, buy 6. Look around, keep looking. Whenever you go out shopping and you pass a flea market, just take a quick look for table decoration stuff. So Reggie got me this from Disneyland. So it looks like if it was at Disneyland, it would look weird. But on a beautiful fall tablescape, stunning. So don't kill me, okay? But I wanted to show you this amazing company called Unwilted. I'm not gonna lie to you, they're outrageously expensive. Stunning handmade flowers. That's a ranunculus. I mean, look at the peonies. So the great thing about them is they're expensive, but they don't die. I bought 2 bunches of these, and they've been in my sort of tablescape for almost 2 years, okay? So yes, the initial expenditure is quite profound, but then after that, you have beautiful, fun flowers. I'm gonna tell you a little trick. I spray my room spray on these. They smell like, in this case, lavender mint, which is the spray I use, but it's, if you don't want to burn Palo Santo, you don't want to do your candles, spray your room spray on paper flowers. I'm telling you, it works. The other thing for very special dinners like midwinter mood booster that I did, or Christmas dinner or Thanksgiving, and I put an individual flower on everybody's setting. So unwilted, fabulous. Okay, this thing is called a skimmer, life-changing. So you have foam or scum on top of a stew. You go like this with the skimmer, right? This thing, I bought 4 of these because they're just amazing. And they clean beautifully. So buy a skimmer, you'll use it. I think you'll use it. If you're making DPT recipes, you will. Or you can drain little items, you know, like things that you want to drain. You could use it in your fry-later. It's an amazing item. Fans of Great British Bake Off will recognize this item. This was featured on this season's Great British Bake Off, and the world went insane, okay? This company, T&G, didn't know what happened to them. Obviously, they're thrilled to get the product placement to begin with. I'm sure it's a huge deal. But this sold out like that, the same night. It's a great rolling pin. I know you're like, it's a dowel. It is, literally, they cut a dowel and rounded the edges. It's a dowel, it's a piece of wood. It's the best rolling pin I've ever bought in my life. Don't buy the rolling pins with the handles. They're not efficient. You have very little contact. Also, the spinning handle doesn't help you. This helps you. You can really control this or a French one much better than the one with the rolling handles. I just wouldn't buy those guys. They're just not that great, okay? Just wanted to give a word to the absolutely irreplaceable EverBake. It's just an oil spray. That's what they say. But there's something, for some reason, about this particular brand that I have never had a cake or food item of any kind stick once after I bought this product. Don't ask me why. Because there's Vegeline, which is the same product. This works better. I don't know why. King Arthur Baking turned me on to this product. And basically anything they say is gold. And so I bought it, and they were right. EverBake, it's my guardian angel. To roll it out, I just wanted to give you a few little things that I really love that are slightly chefy and will change the timbre of your meals, okay? The first thing is Yuzu Juice, okay? So this is California Yuzu. You can go to the Japanese store on 6th Avenue, and they have like 14 different kinds of Yuzu Juice. You want to get one that the ingredients are Yuzu Juice. Yuzu is a citrus. It looks a little bit like a grapefruit crossed with an orange, kind of. But if I read you just what they say here, it's fabulous. Yuzu is your best friend in the kitchen and secret weapon behind the bar. Bold, fragrant, delicious, and versatile. When it comes to pure yuzu juice, a little goes a long way. Add a distinctly bright floral note whenever you need it. So think about things like the tuna carpaccio. Instead of lemon juice, use yuzu. It has a very beautiful floral, it's like a lime with an orange and a lemon. I don't know how to explain it. Anytime you would use lemon, try buying a small bottle of yuzu and using yuzu instead. Using yuzu instead. It'll change your dish. People will go, oh my God, this is so good. Salad dressing, hello? Okay, it's fantastic. It also makes a very nice lemonade or yuzu-ade. I love it, and it's very strong. A little does go a long way. I use it all the time. Vermouth. What is vermouth? Vermouth is essentially white wine with herbs and floral notes steeped in it. Here's the deal with vermouth. I'm one of the last human beings on planet Earth that likes vermouth. I love vermouth. I don't use wine when I'm cooking unless I'm doing like coq au vin or something. I splash vermouth on potatoes, on vegetables, on chicken, on anything I'm cooking. If I'm going to use a liquid flavor, it's vermouth. So they say never add water, always add flavor. They're 99% correct. If you're going to add flavor, try using vermouth instead of wine. Wine is it has a big flavor. And if you don't cook it down, you have raw wine, which is a strong flavor. Try a little dry vermouth. Dolin is the best also for martinis. Try a little dry vermouth. Just try it. You might like it. And like we always say, a little vermouth never hurt anybody. Give me a kiss. Thank you. You're so sweet. It's raining, so they're very sleepy. What do you think about all this equipment? Not that interested? We encourage you to go back and look at our old kitchen equipment episode, which is sort of old now. And we also did table settings. You can look at those episodes. And I encourage you to be adventurous. You don't need any of this stuff. You can cook with a pan and a fork, okay? You don't need a copper pot. You don't need an induction thing. You certainly don't need a Thermomix. You don't need any of this stuff. All you need are 2 of your friends to come over and some peanuts and a Chinese food menu. That's what I really encourage you to do, is invite your friends over. What is happening here? So hit the bells, like, subscribe, etc., only if you feel like it. And we'll see you very soon for more Dinner Party Tonight. Kitchen equipment is coming your way, so don't change the channel right away.